Wendy, and your last name?
Pooley,
Pooley.
Wendy Pooley.
Yes. Are you native Adrian?
I
Lenawee
am.
County?
I am. I was born and raised in Adrian, so I've been in Adrian most of my life. I've had little stints here and there that I've moved away, but have always come back to Adrian. And
So family and friends are in the area?
pretty much. I have one son that's in the Air Force, and he's stationed in Germany. And then I have another son that's in North Carolina. And then my daughter, one of my daughters, is in Massachusetts with my one grandson. And then I have a daughter here in Adrian with her husband and grandson. And then I have my youngest who lives in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, my goodness.
So they're kind of spread all over the place. My one daughter who said, as soon as I graduate, I'm getting out of this small town, is still here. Everybody else left, but she's still here.
Oh,
so.
my. Do you do FaceTime or Skype? Or?
Oh, yeah. I said I'm not real proficient at all those technologies, but with everybody spread all over the place, I'm becoming a little more efficient at
You
that.
have to.
For Christmas, we usually have a few computers set up, laptops set up, so we can Skype each other and see each other. And
Well, that's
so,
wonderful.
yeah.
Early on, when you were growing up here in Adrian, were you aware of the Adrian Dominican Sisters?
I wasn't. I really did not become aware of the Adrian Dominican Sisters. I used to work at the Adrian Training School, which was a juvenile correctional facility here in Adrian. And Sister Dorothy Berg became a foster grandparent out there. And so that's how I was introduced to the Adrian Dominican Sisters, was through Sister Dorothy Berg. So.
She was tall.
Yeah,
was she not?
yeah,
She had a
yeah.
sister in the congregation.
Yeah, she had a couple sisters in the
That's
congregation,
right.
but yeah. So she was a foster grandparent out there for several years and kept talking to me about coming here. And so eventually I saw the ad in the paper that talked about a ministry going both ways.
What does that mean?
Means that I took it to mean that not only would you be ministering to the sisters as a nurse, but they'd also minister to you.
Oh, my.
And I have found that true. I hope people get ministered by the care that they receive from me, but I also get ministered to every day by the
that's
sisters.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
So yeah, it was Sister Dorothy, but that brought me here.
Were your children young at that time? They're still in school?
They were. We have a blended family. The three oldest ones are my husband's, and then two are my biological children. But they're all my kids. I mean, so we, started
So
off
how
very
long
young.
have you been at the
20 years.
Oh,
This summer.
Oh,
I said I
thank
don't feel
you.
that old, but
no,
20
nor do you
years.
look
Well,
20 years old.
Yeah, 20 years I've been here.
Oh,
So
what a gift.
yeah, it's been a gift to
Who
me.
hired you? I mean, who was
Alice Schultz was the
Oh,
director of
yes.
nursing at the time, and Rosemary Bronovich.
Oh, my.
So, yeah, it's been, time flies.
Oh, yes. And did you immediately become a manager, a nurse manager?
No, I started out on midnights. Actually, I started out on call, just kind of getting my feet wet, and worked both at the train school and here on call. But started out as a community nurse.
What?
Community nurse.
What does that mean?
Worked right on the unit, right on the floor,
I see.
not just as a nurse. I think they're very important, but as a nurse on the floor. And then after a few years, they offered me a position, asked me how they could get me here full time, and so actually created a position for me, and because I said I needed to have it full time. So they had me working on the floor part of my time and being a midnight shift supervisor part of the time.
Oh,
So I did that for several years, and then eventually became the nurse manager position. So,
oh my. Well, thank you.
Well,
thank you.
thank you.
I know our sisters love you.
well, thanks.
As a midnight, is that the night supervisor? Tell me what life is like as a night supervisor.
Well, you don't get to see many people on midnight shift as far as the sisters go, but there are occasions when people can't sleep, and so you get to visit with them and help them hopefully get back to sleep. But your sleep pattern is a little different. I had young children at the time, but so I would get home and get them off to school and then be able to sleep while they were gone. So it worked out well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just got up and did my day. So working a midnight shift is not for everybody.
Did
But,
any of our sisters pass away, or?
oh, yeah, I had actually, I want to say just a couple days after I was finished with my orientation and on my own. And I had a sister pass away. And that was really the first experience that I had had with death. But it's a journey. I mean, it's just part of their journey. And so I look at death a different way than I used to. It's not the fearful. Of course, part of that is getting older myself, I think. But, and having more experience, lost parents and things like that. But it is just definitely a different feeling as far as death being just part of the journey that we're all on. So,
Well, as a night supervisor, there must have been many details that you had to take care of.
it's a lot of paperwork, a lot more paperwork.
but
and contacting. Not so much on midnights, but making sure, all the I's are dotted and T's crossed.
Mhm.
And that's what midnight shift does still currently, a lot of the paperwork. And it's difficult to communicate on midnights with the other departments because they're not available. But
And you didn't have computers then,
we didn't have
you?
computers
Yeah.
back then. Now it's much easier because of the computer and, of course, voicemail and all that. But I much prefer the day shift when everybody's awake and alert and easier to communicate with.
But you have a great respect and love for the
Oh,
night.
yeah, I
night
totally
managers.
understand. Yeah, I think everybody needs to
Mhm.
kind of get a feel of what that shift is like, because a lot of people think it's the easy shift, and
Mhm.
it's really not. I
A
mean,
lot goes on
a-
that we don't know.
a lot of dependence on
Mhm.
the midnight shift to keep
Mhm.
the ball rolling, so
Yeah.
to speak. So,
Well, and as I said to Cheryl, I mean, the wheel here is so well oiled. I mean, people know exactly what they're doing, and that, if someone calls in sick, there's someone there that's willing or knows that it's their responsibility to stay
Mhm.
longer.
Yeah.
I mean, you're very fortunate.
we are very fortunate, and that
Mhm.
makes my job as nurse manager much easier, because I think we're blessed with wonderful coworkers, and so it makes my job easier.
Are you in on the interviews of new nurses and aides?
Every once in a while,
Mhm.
if Sandy's not available or HR is not
Mhm.
available, they'll ask me to sit in.
Mhm.
I do the orientation for the new employees. So I do the education part on their first day here,
Mhm.
just orientating them to the campus and to the Adrian Dominican Sisters, their mission statement and that type of thing.
Do you ever have an Adrian Dominican sister meet with them?
I
Do
do.
you?
I've started having Sister Mary Ray Waller come and speak with
Oh,
them.
great.
And then in our tours through the building, every once in a while we'll come across somebody and we'll sit down and have a conversation.
Are they
with them.
curious about
They are.
these old ladies?
They are. For a lot of them, some of them are not Catholic, so just that culture in itself is different for them. So I have found in the orientation process, they're very eager to learn and interested in learning more about the Adrian Dominican Sisters. Of course, I always have the website that I can refer them to, which is a real blessing for them to hear the history and understand what the Adrian Dominican Sisters are all about.
Because we are a different lot,
Well, yeah,
because we
and-
know one another, and
Mhm.
in the hospitals or other retirement homes, that's not necessarily
True.
so.
Yeah. So it is a different culture and a different.
And the other
living
thing that's a
situation.
challenge, I would think, for new nurses or aides is the level of our education,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, that is.
And we, in some respects, we've all been bosses.
Yeah. And we
And that's
mentioned
hard.
we mentioned the education is very important to
Uh-huh.
the Adrian Dominican Sisters, and we encourage them to watch how they address them. We've talked about calling somebody honey or
Yeah.
sweetie, and so yeah, we make sure we mention that in
Yeah.
orientation. So
Yeah.
if you've developed that habit, though, that's sometimes a hard habit for them to
Mhm.
break. You know, they're
Yeah.
used to.
The other phenomena is being with the sisters. It's not like the hospital; they're gone in 5 days, but
Right.
it's when a sister passes and dies. There's a real emotional grief that's going on,
Yeah, there's a loss there.
and sometimes there's not time to even grieve.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we try to encourage them to take that time to grieve if they need it. The grieving process is a very important process, and all of us need to be allowed time to grieve. So we've had hospice come in and talk about the grieving process when we've had several sisters die at one time or on one community. We've had hospice come in and talk about the grieving process and make themselves available to our staff too. So, yeah, they do get very attached. We all do get very attached to all of you. So, I had in one of our staff meetings, one of the older nursing assistants say, "I know we're not supposed to get attached to people." I said, "I don't know where that came from, because
How
that's
could you
not
not?
possible.
Mhm.
That's not possible. Working as closely as you all do with the sisters, that's not possible to not get attached to them and feel that emotional connection." So,
Well, what I've experienced here at Maria, when an aide or a nurse is changed to another floor, it's a real adaptation and challenge for the sisters.
right.
And I'm speaking
And
for
the-
myself.
And the coworkers, but
Yes,
yes, yeah.
'cause it's like getting to know someone,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. But it's also hard on both
Right.
sides of the.
And we've had a lot of discussions around
Mhm.
that, changing staff, and we understand that continuity is very important, and we try to do the changes the least amount as possible. But if we have, on the other hand, a staff member that says, I really feel like I'm getting burnt out or in a rut, and I really feel like I need a change, they're
It's
good
wonderful.
co-workers. We want to have that flexibility to be able to move them, give them that opportunity to get rejuvenated and refreshed. And then,
And for the sister, it's learning more
More
co-workers.
co-workers,
Yes,
yeah.
which is a joy.
so, yeah, so
Mhm.
I know it's difficult for the sisters. It's, like I said, it's difficult for the staff too.
Mhm.
We get familiar and in our comfort zone, and, the nursing assistants are giving very intimate care a lot of times to the
Yeah.
sisters, and so we understand that it's difficult to change, but sometimes we have to, just for the mental well-being of the coworker.
And it's wonderful to hear.
So-
Yes. And you have a handle on that, obviously.
Yeah, we
Yes.
try to keep
Mhm.
open minds, and like I said, if they come and say they need a change, and we'll try to
Mhm.
work it out
Mhm.
between the floors, between the communities, and not have it be totally disruptive. There was a time we got this bright idea that everybody would change every 6 weeks.
Oh.
And so every 6 weeks, we had this constant influx of not new staff, but new to the community,
Yeah.
and that did
That
not
didn't
go
work.
over well.
Well, it's a
So,
learning
it
for
is,
each
yeah.
change.
And
yeah.
again, we're hearing a lot, people were getting burnt out or whatever, and so we thought, well, we'll just rejuvenate everybody all at once. So that didn't work out well, but, so we've changed our
Yeah.
line of thinking
Well,
along
it's
that.
working
so.
nicely now.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we only do it when we feel like, or like I said, a coworker says they need a change, we'll change you.
Yes. So are your family, your children, are they happy that you're here?
Oh, yeah. Several of them have come and visited. My youngest daughter, Melissa, has come and given some piano recitals. She took piano lessons from Sister Annette Glendenning.
Oh, my
And so
heavens.
she has come and given some piano recitals here. And Ashley, my next daughter, she's come and volunteered here and did nails and things like that. And so she's gotten to know them.
They're a part of it.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. My grandson, my youngest grandson, has stopped in on my day off when I've needed to drop something off or whatever. And of course, the sisters love seeing kids and love being around kids, so
Yes.
they enjoy talking with him. So
Yeah. And there's going to be a Christmas gathering.
I hear that. Yep,
Yes.
I'll have to bring Sebastian in. He's kind of on the verge of whether he believes in Santa Claus or not. He's 10, so he's kind of at that age. But
Are you able to get to any other buildings here on campus?
oh yeah, quite often I'm over at Madden talking with HR. Of course, Madden Dining Room and the Weber Gift Shop. And with the presentations that Nilda and I did that we were talking about before we started the interview with dementia, working with dementia, I got to meet a lot of coworkers, which was nice because some of them I did not know or have not met yet. I might have talked to them on the phone about a situation, but so that presentation was nice because I was able to meet all the coworkers across campus and get to know some of them.
And I understand that you and Nilda will be giving a presentation on dementia for the sisters here?
Yes, after the first year, we're going to do nursing and get them done. And it's a 2-hour presentation for the staff. But we're thinking, we're working on how we can present it to the residents because it is so important. We're all touched by dementia. I think in the presentation, 1 out of 5 families now have some connection or have been touched by dementia. In the year 2030, it's going to be 1 out of every 2 families that are touched by dementia. So we all need to learn more as much as we can in dealing with dementia and working with dementia.
You speak about Alzheimer's also?
Specifically Alzheimer's. Dementia is kind of an umbrella
Right.
term, covers a lot of types of dementia or memory cognitive impairment. But yes, we specifically in our presentation deal with Alzheimer's, mainly because that's what we see here. And it's also very predictable in how it progresses. The others dementia can be a little more unpredictable, but Alzheimer's is a little more predictable in how it progresses. So, but yeah, I've enjoyed getting to know Nilda a little better. We were able to go to dementia training in May together with Teepa Snow, who's a world-renowned expert on
Who is it?
Teepa Snow. And
Is that a doctor? Or?
She's an occupational therapist, but has her master's, I believe, in social work and has focused on dementia and working with dementia. And so she's a really animated and dynamic speaker. So we were able to have training with her. So now we're able to go and present
That's
what we
wonderful.
learned. So
Thank you. One last thing that I love asking coworkers, and I think I've already picked it up from you, is what do you love about working here with the sisters on campus?
Well, like I said, the ad that I read in the newspaper 20 years ago that actually made me jump the fence, so to speak, and come from working with juveniles to Adrian Dominican Sisters was that shared ministry. And I really do feel like that is what has kept me here. You know, I have looked other places at times just
For a change.
And I have never felt that type of feeling that I feel here with a shared ministry. I feel like I said, I hopefully share my ministry of nursing with all of you, and I certainly get that back.
Thank you, Wendy. We are so lucky that you're not counting the 20 years and that you keep coming back.
Well, thank you, Sister
God bless
Joey.
you.
Thank you.